The ground cracked beneath him with every step. Elias ducked behind a scorched support beam as plasma fire seared through the air above, leaving the stench of ozone and the sound of screaming alloy. The HUD in his visor flickered, again, and his helmet AI's cheerful tone buzzed in like a drunk opera singer trying to land a high note. Captain Vance, vital signs indicate you are actively attempting suicide. Would you like to review alternatives? Shut up, Lucy. Log this as heroic improvisation, subfo dangerously handsome. He checked the charge on his railgun. Empty, of course. He tossed it aside and yanked a sidearm from his thigh holster, the magnetic clip half melted from a near hit. The weapon whined as it powered up, barely holding a charge. Smoke billowed ahead, thick with nanofiber debris and vaporized blood. The last Elyari holdout, High Command claimed it was a symbolic relic, not worth the manpower. But Elias had seen the transmissions. The Queen's biosignature was still pinging, buried under half a kilometer of rock and metal. His boots slid on melted crystal as he sprinted across the remains of what used to be a stairwell, now a waterfall of molten glass. Somewhere above, the remains of a starship groaned as gravity slowly reclaimed its corpse. The sky was a sickly orange. Something about the color reminded him of his aunt's failed peach cobbler. Lucy, overlay Queen's last known location. And tell me again how this isn't completely insane. Overlaying now, and it is insane. However, statistically, your behavior correlates with a 0.3% chance of interspecies romance. So, progress. He smirked, pushing deeper into the ruins. Explosions rattled the foundation. Static-filled orders from Central Command barked in his ear, retreat, hold position, court-martial. He ripped the comm out and dropped it into a fissure. Steel beams jutted like ribs from the broken earth as he slid down into the main chamber. There, in the half-collapsed sanctum, lay the reason he had risked his rank, his future, and possibly his spleen. Queen Sailrin. She was sprawled across fractured tile, her armor torn open across the midsection. Violet blood shimmered in gravity-defying drips. Her long ears, tapered like feathered blades, twitched faintly. Her hair, black with strands of star metal woven in, lay tangled like spilled ink. She opened one eye. "If you're here to kill me," she rasped, "at least do it quietly." Elias dropped beside her, yanking out a compression injector from his belt. "Name's Elias, and no offense, your pointy-eared majesty, but you're too pretty to die today." Her brow furrowed. "You're human." "Can confirm." Bipedal, charming, stubbornly heroic. He jabbed the injector into her side. Her body spasmed. Also great with tech and mildly suicidal. "You left your unit for me. Well, you do have a reputation. Plus, your assassination attempt on our admiral last year was impressive. Style points." She coughed, blood spattering her lips. "I failed." "You missed his heart by 4 centimeters. I call that a warning shot." Sailrin chuckled weakly. "Your people are strange. Wait until you meet my mother. Now, hold still." He slid his hand into the pouch on his back, pulling free a crystalline device no larger than a deck of cards. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Forbidden tech, highly illegal, possibly cursed. She looked at it with sudden alarm. "You know what that is?" "Yup. It's Elyari resonance tech. Your physiology isn't compatible." "I read the manual." "You read Elyari?" "Parts of it. Mostly the bits labeled 'Don't touch.'" "You are insane." "Flattery won't save you, lady." He pressed the device against her chest. Immediately, light flared. Her body arched, veins glowing with a fierce indigo shimmer. Elias groaned as heat surged through his arms into his core. The pain was molten. He gritted his teeth as blood vessels popped in his eyes. The connection was raw, primal, invasive. And it was working. Her vitals spiked. Fractured bones reknitted. Skin pulsed with renewed vitality. She gasped, her hands clawing the floor. Then she looked at him and something passed between them. Not words, not thought, just a flash of feeling, recognition. He slumped backward. His arm twitched. The device burned out in his palm. "Okay," he mumbled. That was worse than tequila mixed with antirad pills. Sailrin sat up slowly, blinking. You gave me your life force. Just a bit, I can spare some. Still got a few pints left. You could have died. Still could, I'm saving that for tomorrow, maybe the day after. She studied him. You're unlike the others. I get that a lot, mostly from disappointed dates. Behind them, the rubble shifted. Enemy drones began to swarm. She stood, now glowing faintly, eyes sharp and dangerous. Her aura pulsed like a living weapon. Can you walk? He asked. I can fly. Fancy I'll crawl. She grabbed his arm, lifted him easily. No. We run. Teamwork already, he coughed. This is moving fast. They bolted together through the collapsing corridor, dodging plasma bolts and falling beams. She conjured a telekinetic shield, deflecting debris. He tossed his last grenade into a pursuing cluster, not bothering to look back. As they reached the outer ledge, a sleek ship shimmered into view, an Elyari frigate on stealth mode, voice activated. She shouted something guttural and the ramp descended. Not gonna lie, Elias muttered. This might be the coolest day of my life. Even if you die. I've had worse Tuesdays. They dove aboard as the ramp closed and the ship shot into the sky, leaving the battlefield behind. Elias collapsed onto the floor, his breathing ragged. Lucy, he wheezed, tell me I looked heroic. You looked like a dying meerkat in power armor, but the Queen seems impressed. Shall I start drafting your wedding invitations? Sailrin leaned over him, smirking. What is a meerkat? You'll love them. They're loud, nosy, and don't know when to quit. She stared at him for a moment, then she smiled. Then we are kin. The interior lights of the Elyari frigate flickered erratically as the vessel banked through the upper atmosphere, engines groaning in protest. Elias was half-sprawled across a mid-slab, his armor stripped to the waist, sensors clinging to his chest like clingy X's. He groaned as the diagnostics stabbed another microneedle into his neck. Lucy, he muttered, eyes half-lidded. If this ship pokes me one more time, I'm going to file a harassment report. Noted, Captain. Logging complaint under whiny biological malfunctions. Also, you have internal organ failure pending in 3 systems. I thought you said I looked like a meerkat. A dying meerkat. The ship's systems buzzed around him, alien tech woven like living vines into every panel. Somewhere nearby, Sailrin was speaking in clipped Elyari, her voice commanding and precise. The ship responded with what sounded like obedience or possibly irritation. Elias couldn't tell. He still had trouble distinguishing between Elyari command tones and their version of sarcasm. Sailrin entered the medbay, still clad in scorched armor, now fully powered again and humming with bioluminescent filigree. Her long ears twitched as she surveyed his state. You look structurally compromised. You're not wrong. I feel like someone microwaved me and left me in the break room too long. You transferred life force using uncalibrated resonance technology. I prefer the term recklessly brave. Also desperate. Also, did I mention brave? She crossed her arms. You shouldn't be alive. A lot of people have said that about me, usually during explosions. The ship lurched again, and Sailrin muttered something sharp into a ceiling node. The stars outside twisted as the frigate slid into stealth phase. She turned back to him. You're unstable. Only emotionally. Physically, I'm just melting a little. You're bonded to me now, psychically. That kind of resonance link isn't casual. Great. So is this a relationship now, or more of a situationship? I need to update my dating profile. Sailrin stared. You joke while dying. Well, I'm not going to cry about it. That's reserved for tax season. She paced slowly. You disobeyed orders, crossed a battlefield alone, used illegal alien tech, and poured your essence into mine. Why? Because I saw a queen bleeding in the ruins of her home, and no one else gave a damn. She tilted her head. You are odd. Again, not the first time I've heard that. Sailrin tapped a sequence into a nearby console. A hologram flared up showing a cluster of ships, human, advancing. Your people are hunting you, treason charges. Command believes you defected to the Elyari. That's rich. I can't even defect to my local gym without paperwork. They'll find us soon. Not if you do that spooky phase shift thing again. Only works for short bursts. The drive-S partially damaged. We're headed to the Nebula Verge. There's a relay station hidden in the ruins of a Dyson cradle. We can repair and refuel there. Sounds cozy. It's haunted. Even better. He sat up slowly, grimacing as his joints protested. His veins still glowed faintly where the transfer had taken place. How much time do I have before my insides start dissolving? Unclear. Your physiology is resisting the entropy, but the process is accelerating. You'll need to be stabilized within days, hours, if you keep being sarcastic. Dark humor keeps me young. Then you are immortal. They exchanged a glance, somewhere between irritation and something stranger. She tapped the control to dim the lights. Rest. We arrive in 3 hours. I don't nap well on alien warships. Your chairs are designed for people with no butt. Elyari have efficient bone structures. Yeah, well, some of us need lumbar support. He lay back as she left, his mind churning. The link wasn't just biological. He could feel her now, like a faint whisper at the edge of thought. A pressure in his chest when she was near. A flicker of memory that wasn't his. Snow-covered peaks. A crown carved of living crystal. 1,000 voices chanting in a language he didn't know but somehow understood. He closed his eyes. Dreams came fast and violent. He stood in a great hall, alien and infinite, full of ghostlight and shadows. At the center, a massive forge burned with blue fire, suspended in nothingness. A voice echoed, not Sailren's, not his. The accord must be reforged. Then silence. When he awoke, Sailren was already at the helm, face lit by starfield data. The verge loomed ahead, a graveyard of failed civilizations. Giant husks of megastructures drifted lazily in the void, each one a story written in rust and silence. This is the part where something tries to eat us, right? Elias muttered, stepping up beside her. Most likely. Great. I was worried things would get boring. The ship entered a narrow crevice between 2 fractured Dyson lattice rings. Light bent oddly. Debris swirled without motion. The feeling was wrong, like stepping into a room that used to be full of people now utterly still. Then the signal came, sharp, encrypted, and Elyari. Sailren froze. Problem? Elias asked. She didn't answer. The message was short, a single phrase. You are not our queen. Then the attack began. A beam lanced out from the shadow, scoring the side of their ship. The hull screamed. Sailren shouted orders, the vessel twisting violently. Elias was thrown against a bulkhead. Lucy, do something useful. Like what? Hurl myself into the sun. Sailren's eyes were blazing. They've followed us. Who? Elyari loyalists, zealots. They think I'm corrupted. They mean to destroy the link. Well, they're about to meet my charming personality and a half-dead pulse rifle. You can't fight. I can snark them into submission. He staggered to the weapons console. The screen was in Elyari. He stared at it, then slapped buttons at random. A compartment opened and dumped out a tray of glowing fruit. Sailren arched an eyebrow. That's the galley. Great, if we survive, we eat healthy. The next beam hit closer. The shields flickered. Sailren reached out, her hand touching the console, then his. A surge of energy rippled between them. The ship responded instantly. The systems aligned. Elias blinked. You unlocked it with the link. I told you, you're not just dying, you're becoming something else. The frigate roared forward, scattering debris, dodging fire, pushing toward the relay station nestled in the bones of a lost world. Behind them, warships closed in. Ahead, the verge loomed, silent, broken, and waiting. The relay station was less a structure and more a skeletal afterthought of a civilization that had clearly overestimated its engineering skills and underestimated entropy. The ship skidded into a docking aperture shaped like a dislocated gear and barely held in place by a failing magnetic field. The moment the landing clamps engaged, The frigate groaned like it had just run a marathon on 3 legs and a hangover. Elias blinked at the docking screen. That thing looks like it was designed by drunk spiders. Sailrin's fingers danced across the controls. The relay core is still functional. That's all that matters. Functional in the same way my appendix used to be, because I had to remove that with a multi-tool on Caldra 9. You removed an organ with a multi-tool. Well, the medical kit was on fire. He followed her down the ramp, wincing at the stiffness in his joints. The air inside the station was cold, dry, and carried the faint smell of ancient coolant and decaying insulation. Every surface pulsed faintly, as if remembering when it used to do something important. The corridors curved in impossible geometries. Part of the station's original function was gravity manipulation, though now it mostly served as a headache generator. Every few steps the floor would tilt at a slightly wrong angle. "Okay," Elias muttered. "Either this place is haunted or I've suffered severe neurological degradation." Both. They reached the core chamber, where the relay crystal stood, an irregular, jagged prism floating above a cracked pedestal. Ethereal data strands hummed through it, flickering like forgotten thoughts. Sailrin approached with reverence. This was once part of the Elyari Nexus. It connected minds across the stars. Elias leaned against a support beam. So, like a psychic group chat. More like a network of harmonized thought. Still sounds like a group chat, just with fewer cat memes. She touched the relay crystal. It pulsed once, and then a low-frequency hum began to build. Elias felt it in his teeth. The resonance between them sparked again, stronger now, less chaotic. His vision blurred, and for a moment he saw her memories again. Twin moons rising over obsidian oceans, a coronation bathed in songlight, an oath spoken in a dialect older than stars. He exhaled sharply. "Okay." That felt personal. The link is stabilizing. Define stabilizing. Because I still feel like I'm one sneeze away from involuntary combustion. She frowned. "Your cells are adapting slowly." "Great. I always wanted to be a science project." The crystal flashed violently. Alarms blared. Red runes crawled across the relay's display. Sailrin's expression darkened. "They've locked onto the signal. They're coming." "You mean the religiously fanatical spaceship-wielding lunatics?" "Yes. Fantastic." Elias slapped his comm unit. "Lucy, warm up the ship. We've got company." Already spinning up engines and calculating escape vectors. Also preparing your last will and testament just in case. Sailrin moved to the console and began overriding the relay's broadcast. "If we can amplify the resonance field, we may disrupt their sensors. Or attract more of them." "That too." He sighed and pulled a cable from the relay housing. "Just once, I'd like a plan that doesn't start with, 'Let's plug the unstable human into the ancient alien device.' You are the amplifier. I hate being the amplifier." She connected the cable to the interface jack behind his neck. Electricity, no memory, flooded him. Time folded like paper. He stood in a dozen moments at once. His first battle, the taste of chocolate after 2 months on nutrient rations, a child's laughter in a storm shelter, and Sailrin's voice, whispering a name he didn't yet know. "Whoa," he breathed. "That's new. You're accessing shared strata. My past, and possibly your future. I saw you on a throne alone. This relay, it's older than my empire. There's something buried in its core, something the Elyari feared. Well, we've already used outlawed tech, formed an illegal bond, and hijacked a diplomatic frigate. Let's go for the high score." She nodded slowly and pressed her hand to the interface. A low chime sounded, then a voice, deep, mechanical, feminine, spoke in ancient Elyari. The translation buzzed into Elias' earpiece. "Starforge key recognized. Sovereign line confirmed. Path unlocked." Elias blinked. "Wait, Starforge, like the thing from your legends?" "Yes. And we just unlocked it." "Yes. And it's not a metaphor." "No." He grinned. "Awesome." She didn't smile back. "You're not excited." Because unlocking the path means the others will follow, and the last time the Starforge was active, it broke time. He paused. Define broke time. It took choices and made them simultaneous. Reality couldn't contain it. Okay, Elia said slowly. That sounds manageable. She finally smirked. You really are human. The relay flared again, transmitting coordinates into the frigate's nav system. A single point in space. A dead system, marked in both Elyari and human databases as off-limits, unstable, and unapproachable. Elias cracked his knuckles. Well, I've been banned from worse places. Then let us add one more to the list. They returned to the ship. The engines thrummed, the stealth field flickered to life, and the relay station, its job done, shut down forever behind them. The path ahead was uncertain. The Starforge awaited. The approach to the dead system wasn't silent, far from it. The ship groaned with each light year crossed, as if it were reconsidering its life choices with every gravitational anomaly they passed. Inside the cockpit, Elias stared at the star map with the same expression most people reserved for deciphering tax code. I think this system is actively trying to confuse me. Sailrin adjusted the trajectory. It's layered with phase shadows and quantum misalignments. The navigation grid can't trust its own readings. Perfect. So we're flying into an interstellar optical illusion with engines held together by hope and duct tape. You're welcome to walk. He squinted at the data readout. And that's the planet, that wobbly marble-shaped thing orbiting, nothing. There was once a sun here. I'm sorry, was. The Starforge consumed it. Elias blinked. That seems excessive. Couldn't it have just ordered takeout? Sailrin didn't answer. She was focused, unusually still. The link between them pulsed faintly, a pressure against his thoughts. He could feel her anticipation and underneath that fear. Not of death, but of being right. They slid into orbit around the dark planet. It wasn't just absent of light, it rejected it. The surface shimmered in false reflections, like it remembered stars that no longer existed. Below them, the forge. Elias leaned in. Okay, that is definitely not metaphorical. That is a literal machine the size of a small moon, with moving parts and a heartbeat. It has a heartbeat. The forge is alive. I don't like that sentence. She activated the landing sequence. It was built to reshape matter, bend energy, and manipulate time. The Elyari used it once. We never dared again. Well, now we're using it again. Because we're responsible adults making excellent decisions. You're still dying. Yeah, that too. The ship landed on a platform that unfolded itself as they approached. A stairway of unfolding tetrahedrons that grew like crystal under their feet. Elias stepped out slowly, boots crunching against fractal glass. The air vibrated with intent. Remind me to take a souvenir. Maybe a t-shirt that says I survived the Starforge, and all I got was destabilized at the molecular level. They entered the inner chamber. The moment they crossed the threshold, time fractured. Elias blinked and saw himself in 3 places at once, sitting, running, screaming. He staggered, clutched his head. Sailrin caught his arm. It's testing perception. Reality is layered here. Well, can we turn it down a notch? My brain doesn't come with backup files. They moved deeper. The walls were not walls but possibilities, echoes of choices never made. Elias saw a version of himself that never enlisted. Another who died on Uvathar Prime. One who kissed Sailrin before the rescue and one who never came for her. I hate this place. It reflects you. Exactly. At the center stood the core, a lattice of shifting geometry spiraling in on itself, never fully still. Within it, a seat, a conduit, meant for one mind, one will. Sailrin approached it, then stopped. It wants both of us. Because of the link. Because of what we've become. Elias laughed weakly. I was hoping for a heroic monologue before we saved the galaxy, something with swelling music. She stepped into the core, light flared. Elias followed because he had already followed her into death, and this felt slightly less suicidal. The forge spoke, not in words but in sensation. It asked what they wanted. Elias responded without thinking. To save her. To stop the war. To be something better than we were. The Forge answered. Images crashed into them. The galaxy rippling under the weight of centuries. The Elyari Empire fracturing. Humanity rising, fearful and bold. The Forge dormant, waiting for a will strong enough to reshape history. It showed them what it could do. It could rewrite the fabric of causality. It could undo war, prevent the deaths, restore the lost systems. It also showed the cost. Elias reeled. It wants everything. One of us has to stay permanently. Not stay, Saorin said quietly. Become part of it. Well, that's new. I didn't plan on being absorbed into a god machine today. It would preserve your consciousness. Merge it with the lattice. You'd live in a way. I already uploaded my brain once. Took a week to get my sarcasm back. They turned to each other. The decision lay between them, suspended in the pressure of the link. Saorin's hand hovered near his. You gave me your life once. I won't let you give it again. He grinned. You're assuming I'm noble enough to argue. She frowned. Are you? Probably not. But I am stupid enough to trust you'll do the right thing. She opened her mouth, but the Forge pulsed. Elias stepped forward. Wait, she said. You've got an empire to fix, a galaxy to teach empathy to me. I'm just a guy with excellent hair and a talent for being in the wrong place. He placed his hand on the conduit. The light surged, and then it stopped. Saorin was beside him, her hand on his. Then we do this together. You'll get caught in it. Better together than either of us alone. The Forge accepted. Reality cracked, then reformed. Outside, every weapon on every ship ceased to function. Engines paused mid-cycle. Communications cleared. Thought flooded across space like a rising tide, echoes of feeling shared and translated. Grief, love, regret, hope. Every mind for one moment heard a whisper. There is another way. On board their ship, Lucy blinked into new awareness. Captain Queen, are you still you? From the core a voice replied, both of them and more. Yes, and more than that. The Forge did not consume them. It changed them, made them its voice. And through that voice, the galaxy heard compassion like thunder. The first thing Elias noticed after it was over, after the light, after the voice, after the galaxy held its collective breath and exhaled peace, was that he wasn't dead. He sat on the floor of the ship's cockpit, blinking at a half-eaten ration bar floating weightlessly beside him. Lucy chirped softly. Vitals returning to baseline, neurological patterns stabilizing, sarcasm levels at full capacity. Welcome back, Captain. He rubbed his eyes. Did we win? Define win. You merged with a galaxy-sized time-bending artifact, broadcast empathy through subquantum fields, and restructured interspecies diplomacy with feelings. So yes, you won, emotionally. Elias groaned and sat up. Where's Saorin? Coming online now. A door slid open. She stepped in. No longer just Elyari Queen, not quite post-organic entity, not fully anything that had a name yet. But her eyes were still violet, her ears still sharp, and her smirk unmistakable. You snore, she said. You glow, he replied. I always glowed. Yeah, but now it's ambient, like you're powered by mood lighting. She approached, knelt beside him. The link between them pulsed, steady, quiet. Not intrusive anymore, more like a hand resting against his. You're stable, she said. Lucy says I'm emotionally unkillable. Saorin looked out at the viewport. The planet below shimmered as the Starforge collapsed itself into non-existence, folding into a dimension best left unvisited. Only silence remained. The Forge is gone, she said. But the Accord signal holds. Across space, weapons stayed quiet. Armies stood down. Fleets hovered in tension, and then one by one they pulled back. Not because of fear, but because of understanding. He stood and stretched. So, what now? Do we get medals? A parade? I'd kill for a good parade, preferably one without confetti grenades. You're wanted for treason by your own command. Right, forgot that part. And my own people think I've merged with human madness. So we're galactic outcasts. Yes, sounds peaceful. She tilted her head. You don't regret it. He looked at her for a long moment. You were dying, and I was done running from what mattered. That's it. That's all it ever was. She reached into a side compartment and pulled out a slim case. Inside, the pulse device inactive, it's crystal dark. Your body adapted to the transfer. You're no longer deteriorating. The link made you part Elyari. He blinked. Does that mean I get cool armor and cryptic visions now? It means you'll live. That's a good start. She returned the case. There's more. The Accord effect, it's not just truce, it's change, lasting change. Systems are contacting each other. Elyari and human joint assemblies have been proposed, and they're quoting you. Elias choked. Quoting me? Oh no, what did I say? You told a war council that empathy is like sneezing. It's contagious and nobody wants it, but it happens anyway. He groaned, and they're quoting that. In 3 languages. Lucy beeped. Captain Vance, accidental philosopher. He shook his head. This is how civilizations fall. A message pinged through the system. Visual request. Commander Elia Tanny's United Human Command. He raised an eyebrow. That's my old co. Answer it, Sailrin said. The screen flickered. Commander Tanny's appeared stoic, silver-haired, and visibly irritated. Captain Vance. Technically not a captain anymore. Possibly outlaw. Maybe folk hero. She sighed. The council has voted, due to your unique contributions and the unintended but effective outcome, all charges have been dropped. You are reinstated. Retroactively, with honors. Elias blinked. Wait, I got promoted for treason. Unofficially. Officially, we're classifying this as an unauthorized peace operation with positive outcome. Also, we'd appreciate it if you didn't talk to the press. I'm offended you think I'd talk to the press. We've already intercepted your AI's blog. Lucy chirped, it's trending. Hashtags include Queen Rescue, #snark and salvation, and humans are weird. Sailrin crossed her arms, fitting. The commander continued. The Accord has opened doors we never expected. But the galaxy isn't magically peaceful. You've shifted the balance. That comes with attention. Are we talking assassination attempts or award ceremonies? Both. Busy week. She paused. Don't make me regret this, Vance. I make everything memorable, Commander. The screen cut out. Sailrin turned to him. You're a symbol now. That sounds exhausting. You'll get used to it. He glanced at her. You staying with me? Her look softened.